One main thing many runners don't consider before taking up the activity is nutrition. Refueling is extremely important when it comes to running, and a lot of people don't realize that it takes not only endurance, but it also takes muscle and protein to build muscle in order to improve your performance. I like to use plant-based protein powder. That way, if you have whey sensitivity or dairy sensitivity, then it usually isn't triggered by that. And also, this is a good protein powder to use because it has low carbohydrates and low fat. So it is a direct source of protein, and it's protein dense. So that way you don't have to eat a whole lot of different things to get your sources of protein. You can get it all in one spot. So if you're in a rush, you can put it in water and mix it up. Or I like to put it in my morning oatmeal after I run. So that's also a great way to use protein powder. And another way I like to refuel is with carbs. Carbs are extremely important for runners to refuel your glycogen storages. And another great way to do that is with oats. Oats are a great source of carbs and they're filling, and you can do so many different things with them. I personally really like to do savory oats because with savory oats you can put vegetables, meat, eggs, pretty much anything you want on them, and season them however you want. And those are a great way to get in some of your veggies and other sources of proteins and fats. So that way you get all of your macronutrients all in one: fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, as well as some leafy greens. And let's see, another thing that I like to focus on is hydration. If I run, I like to have about 6 of these a day, and this is a 32-ounce cup. I find that if I run more than 3 miles, then I need to focus on electrolytes. Electrolytes can be found in coconut water, Gatorade, Powerade, or vitamin water, and let's see. Those can be found because they have extra nutrients. Electrolytes aren't just water-based, they also have other things like sodium is part of electrolytes, which is necessary for your body to be able to get that water back and be properly hydrated, because if you drink water and you've sweat a lot throughout that day and you've run a lot of miles, then you need more than just plain water to rehydrate your body. So that's a great way to get it in. I personally like coconut water because there's no sugars or salts added. It's just all natural. And another thing that's really important to focus on if you're a new runner is shoes. I personally really like the Brooks Rebel 3 because they have really good comfort and they're also really supportive, and they last through a lot of miles. I think I have about 200 miles on this pair of shoes. As you can see, they're pretty dirty. I really like to use these if I'm running on the canal because they help support my feet even if I'm running over lots of rocks. And so those are good for medium to longer runs. And I also have another pair of shoes, and these are my New Balance shoes. And I use these for speed workouts because they're pretty light. You can even tell by the shape and the tread of the sole that they're used for picking up speed pretty quick. And these don't have as much comfort or support because they're focused on lightness. And so if you're trying to improve your times, these are a great pair of shoes for a shorter workout, like a track workout, speed workout, or even a race, because then it's not super heavy. But you wouldn't want to use these long term for long runs because over time the lack of support can really wear on your feet and eventually it could cause a stress fracture. And track shoes are generally cheaper than long distance shoes. I paid about $60 for these, and these shoes were about $100. And that might seem like a lot, but you really want to have a good pair of shoes that support your feet if you're running, because that can really make or break you when it comes to your performance and your ability to run longer without getting injured. And so those are 2 really important things to focus on for shoes, is a pair of track shoes and a pair of long distance shoes. The last thing that I like to focus on is stretching. Stretching is great for relaxing and for preventing injury. For example, I prefer doing stretches that are sitting down. So generally, this stretch is really good for stretching out your hamstring so it doesn't get tight right after being all warmed up and working out. So I like to lean over like this, and then I'll do about 15 minutes of stretching. I like to focus on my hamstrings, glutes, quads, and calves because those are the muscle groups in your legs that are more likely to get pulled if you don't stretch properly. And stretching is really important because if you pull a muscle, then you probably won't be able to run, or you'll have to decrease your intensity or distance. And those generally aren't things that you want to do if you're trying to meet a running goal or if you're trying to work up to a race. Races are also something you need to prepare for, and I recommend doing that by starting out slow. If you've never run before, I recommend running for 1 minute and jogging for walking for 30 seconds. And I would do this by starting one day, then taking one day off, and then doing it again the next day, and then slowly adding time to the amount of time you're running, and then with decreasing your walking over time. And eventually, if you can get up to doing about 3 miles a day, that's a pretty good, like, medium level. Like, that's something you can maintain while not usually overexerting yourself. Although everyone is different, so your ideal mileage might be lower or higher. But that's good base mileage for if you want to train for something harder or longer. But that's definitely a good goal to shoot for, and one that I've done personally myself. I try to do 3 miles at a minimum for a run, but I've been running for a long time. So that's just something that works for me, and I hope you enjoy your run.